It's turning. If you look at our numbers, so we were making losses last year, but this is really the result of the first half of the financial year, which was affected by the war in Ukraine and kind of the supply chain breakdown during summer. Already we observed significant improvements going through the second half, and now we are expecting a swing of €1 billion on profitability coming into the current financial year, fiscal 24. Absolutely.
So that means profitability, because it was a full year operating loss for the period, yeah, in around about what, €467 million, yeah? So
we are expecting the same number, but on the positive side in the current financial year.
And I think that's fascinating, and it's something that Juliana and I and the team have looked at for years in your sector, is the extraordinary volatility in profitability. I mentioned arrivals, and I'll just say I see it in spades over at EasyJet, and I'm seeing it at Wizz Air. Different kind of model with a flag carrier as well. We can talk about that if we need to as well. But is this sector able to iron out any of that volatility?
We used to be addressing events in the past. So there was an economic crisis. We had a plan to manage ourselves through that crisis. There was something happening in the environment, natural catastrophe, and we were dealing with that. I think what is changing is that nowadays it is a sequence of events affecting the operation of the industry. And you just need to know how to deal with that, given all the unknowns. The only thing what you know is that you have to deal with certain things. And I think we are really making our business model a lot more resilient and our operating model a lot more resilient, expecting ongoing affections coming from the environment. I think that's a change.
Sorry, just simplest question then, because you've gone there. How? How do you possibly make it more resilient?
Well, you need to have more reserves. You need to have the ability to recover more robustly than before. I think you need to be more resilient against external impacts, and you have to be more focused on the consumer. I think you have to put the consumer in front of you to make sure that, whatever happens, you have a plan to recover the consumer.
Let me bring it back to the near term. The airline industry has been plagued with disruptions ever since we have come back online after COVID. I think anybody who's traveled in the last few months, in the last year, will have experienced some kind of delay or cancellation. How are those issues right now? And what can we expect for this summer as people ramp up their travel, especially in Europe?
The world is not perfect, but I think we are doing a lot better than last year. So last summer, the industry in Europe had to cancel 6% of the flights because of all these disruptions. This year, we have cancelled around 0.5% of the flights. And actually, Wizz Air is the best performing airline in the whole of Europe. And this is the result of putting reserves, more abilities to recover, more capacity, more spares, more slacks in the system, more pilots, more cabin crew, to make sure that if something goes wrong, we still have a plan to service the consumer. And I think this is really a change, that it is no longer just operating the airline, but we need to put the consumer in the forefront of our activities.